Okay, Boker Tov, we're up to the Nun Dalin. And I'm talking about a nazir that if he becomes tummy, he has to start all over again. And we had a Mishnah before, good morning. And we had a Mishnah about Tumas that he's Megaleh. And then comes that Mishnah, the sister Mishnah that says on these he's not Megaleh, which we had some reference to this Mishnah yesterday, that some of the things might be repetitious because you could have deduced it from the Mishnah before, that it says this, yes, mashma, something not. So here it goes. Avol. Just a general introduction that these things that is not Megaleach, the Naz is not Megaleach. Why is that? Some say because all these Tumas are Rabbanan. Whatever it's going to say now is a Tumah Rabbanan, so they didn't make the Chumrah that the Nazir should have to cancel it. Some say that it's the Raisa, but it's like Allah Moshe Messina that these things not. That he's not, even though he's coming with the Raisa, but he's not Megaleach. So just the Mishnah is going to say, that's an interesting thing. The Mishnah is going to say about all these things that he is coming, whatever we say, the Raisa Rabbanan, and he's going to have to wait for the 3 and 7. Because he has to get out of the tumah. These days that are tumah are not going to count. That's an interesting thing. That even though it doesn't cancel it, but it's on pause. That it's not mavatal, it's not megaleh, but also it doesn't count. So here it goes. It has a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things. So the Gemara is going to explain what these things means. This word schach means like a overhead schach, like we have a schach. And the Gemara is going to say that it means branches of a tree. Well, I'll say it already now because the Gemara is not going to be too more explicit. And you need to be shown him to explain what it means. They say that it means there are a couple of branches of a tree that are not connected to each other. It means you don't have one big ohel. The tree didn't form one big ohel. And you know that there's a mace under one of the branches. You don't know which one. And he didn't go under all of them. He only went under some of them. So it's a Safek Tumah. And we call it a Safek Tumah B'Shus HaRabim, they explain. And according to the regular din, it should be Torah. And maybe they were matam, but they were matam him with Rabbana. And there's a question over here: why should they? We know that the regular din is Safek Tumah B'Shus HaRabim is Torah, and they didn't say every Safek Tumah B'Shus HaRabim is Tamim with Rabbana. So that means explanation. How come they did make that Schach should be Tamim with Rabbana? It's a regular Safek Tumah B'Shus HaRabim. And here they said that the Nazir is not Megaleach. The Gemara is just point out that this is pretty famous what Schachos and Pros is, and I just noticed today that it doesn't say all that I just said now is only the Rishonim's build up from a lot of different problems to say that was what it must be. Schachos, the Gemara is going to say means that it's branches of a tree. That's all the Gemara is going to say. Mishnah is going to say, and we're going to figure out that it means that the mace was buried under one of them, which we definitely know is under one of them, and we don't know which one it is. And it's B'Shus HaRabim. Like all that the Rishonim filled in, and it doesn't say it. But that's the standard shot that we talk about Schachos and Pros. Pros is the same thing, just instead of being branches of a tree, it's going to be stones jutting out of a wall. And also, same case. If you know that the mace was a mace or Kazayisman mace was buried under one of them, and there's too much all to go under it, and he went under one of them, but he doesn't know which one. And it's B'Shus HaRabim. So the B'Shus HaRabim should be Torah. For some reason they were Matame. I don't know what the reason that is. That they did make a Tumah on this, the Tumah B'Rabbanan, and this Safek Tumah B'Shus HaRabim, even though usually it's Torah. And by Nazir, they didn't make this Tumah. Beis HaPras. Beis HaPras is brought on many places, and this simple Beis HaPras we'll talk about is that there was a field, that there was a grave, and it was plowed over. And the fact that he plowed it over, it could be that there's a bone that was pushed along with the plow, and you don't know that right back in the field, there might be that there's a soil someplace, and if someone's going to go through it, he might be touching, trampling on it, and it'll become Tamei Maga, Masa, and therefore they made it Tamei. But it's only the Rabbanan, I guess, because you don't have to be choshesh that there's a bone that you touched over there. So basic process is Tumah B'Rabbanan, a grave that was plowed over, and it gives, and how, where's that? I think that's like more or less like 100 amos diameter. I forgot if it's 100 amos radius or diameter. I forgot the amount. Forgot the amount how much wechoshes the plow might have dragged the bone, and that's a Tumah B'Rabbanan. And over there, this one is Sholi Rabbanan. The other ones might be the Raisa, but this one is Sholi Rabbanan, and the Nazir is not going to have to cancel his Nazirus because of it. Eretz Amim. I just noticed today that it's called Eretz Amim, the Chuslaris, right? So Chuslaris means out of Eretz Yisrael, but there's another term for Chuslaris, it's called Eretz Amim. Isn't that amazing?
It belongs to the nation.
That it belongs to the nations. Yeah, it doesn't understand. Eretz Yisrael is the land of Israel, and Eretz Amim is the land of the Goyim. So you ask somebody, where did you live? He lived in Eretz Amim. What are you doing in Eretz Amim? Are you from the Amim? But that's what it's called. And they made a tumah. There's a tumah on Eretz Amen.
Tumas
Tumas Eretz Amen. They don't call it Tumas Chos Laretz. They call it Tumas Eretz Amen. Chazal call it Tumas Eretz Amen. Out of Eretz Yisrael is called the place, the land of the nations.
as opposed to Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah, the land of Am Yisrael. I just noticed for the first time. So to Eretz Amen is Tamei. No matter how many Jews live there. What?
No matter how many Kohanim move there.
It's a Tamei. And we're going to talk about the Eretz Amen today. Today's talk is going to be about Tumas Eretz Amen. So if a nazir goes there, so it doesn't cancel this Tumah. But we're going to see soon that it doesn't count for the days that he was there. Agola, Dofek. So these are two things which are Tumah, even though it might be stone. Stone usually is not Makabal Tumah, but the Gola and the Dofek has something to do with the Tumah of the grave. So there's a issue when they were shown about exactly is the Gola and the Dofek. The Gola, some say that's the cover of the coffin. Whatever you put on top of the mace, like in Eretz Yisrael, they don't bury with the coffin, but they put stones on top. That might be called the golel, and the dofek might be the stones that they put on the side in order the side stones in order to hold up the golel. Acharusa, Pinchas Abraham would as being a tour guide and knowing Eretz Yisrael, so in all the archaeology. So he says there's a finding that they find by all the graves, and he thinks that it seems very, very mistaber, very reasonable to think that that's the golel and the dofek. But he didn't say anybody that says so. He didn't find any Rishonim that say so. He says, but they have kuchim. They have the, how do you say kuchim in English? That they don't bury in the ground, underground, but they buried in the wall. That was the old way of burying, and that's much nice that we have in other places that they would dig out into the wall, and they have it now. They start doing it again nowadays also. So, but now they make more like artificial. They build a building and they make all these kuchim. But then it would be inside the wall of the cave. They would dig in, and that would put the mace in. It would be 4 amas deep, and an amma by an amma, and they would slide the mace in. And that would be a ma'ora. There would be like a system. And you go into the cave, call it, and you'd have a certain amount of kuchen on each side. And the Mishnah and Baba Basra talks about how you're supposed to arrange it. But he said an interesting thing, but you find it. They're all the archaeologists, they go, you can find them. So interesting point is that by every entrance to these caves, the Ma'ara Sakura, so they find the round stone. They find the round stone, and that was used to roll against the doorway, that it should be closed. I guess it was pretty heavy, and you had to have a couple of people to move it. So that protected that the grave plot, the plot of graves, should be protected. There was a door. That was the way to close the door. That a stone. That was a round, I don't know if it was a ball or that it was a round disc, but it's made out of stone. And that's why he thinks it would be called golel, lashon of rolling it. And the dofik means that you always find 2 stones that held the stone in place. Isn't that a nice pshat? That is a golel, but he said nobody's looked around and nobody says it. They all say pshatim that they have difficulty with. One says that it means on top of the grave, mamash on top of the mace. There are difficulties then the pshatim of the Metzius is what it was exactly, but it does say that it's even if the thing which is not makabel tumah, it's tameh. It doesn't say if it's the Raisa Rabbanan. Here, according to some of Farshim will say that it's Rabbanan. And they didn't make the tumah, the nazir would touch, a regular person touches it, it becomes tameh. And maybe also becomes tameh, but he's not going to cancel his naziris because of the tumah of golol v'dofek.
Dofek, we're saying, what is also a stone?
It's also a stone, and if you want to say the pshat of Pinchas, so it's going to mean the golol is the stone that covers the entrance to the ma'ara, the cave of the Kfarim, and the dofek are the 2 stones that hold this round stone in place. Like
like hinges.
Not hinges. Dofek would be like you have
Shims, like a shim to prevent the thing from rolling.
when you have a truck, you don't want it to roll, so you put something by the wheel. A stopper. Okay. A door stopper, you have like the golol stopper. So this is a speculation that he says sounds so mistaber because you see it all over. Every ma'or zakur, you find a stone next to it. So it'd be a nice shot, but nobody said it. But other kind of stones that are some say that it's the matzeva, and the stone that holds up to matzeva. Different shatim that the Rishonim said what the golol dofik might be. It's some kind of stone that has to do with the grave, and 2 kinds. The golol is on the dofik, or supported by the dofik, and it's tameh. So here it's saying that even though it's tameh, it's considered like it is considered tameh, but the nazir who touched it doesn't cancel his naziris.
like accessories to the grave, as opposed to the grave itself.
Okay, and revius dam. Revius, continue. My niggin was the wrong niggin. It's not the end of the sentence yet. There's another couple of them coming up. Revius dam means a revius of dam of the mace. Now, really, we know that already, that it's not going to become tamei ba'ohel, because the Mishnah before said achatzi lub dam. That was what we spoke about yesterday. That it doesn't have to say revius dam. It could have said, because it said already before that achatzi has to be achatzi lub dam, and know that it should be megalech. It's anything less than achatzi lub is not going to become tamei ba'ohel. So you don't need it for that. It wouldn't have to say it for that. But the Gemara said yesterday that maybe it's coming to tell you the diuk that it's not even tamei if he touched it. Not that if it's ohel is surely not. That I said yesterday already. That it's only ohel if it will be a chasi lug, not a revius lug. But here it's coming to tell you that even if the nazir would have touched the revius dam, also he's not going to be megaleach. The next word, it says ohel. It's a hard word in the middle of no place over here. Ohel. Some have the gifts of the ohel, the robot samos. But we'll go, it's okay with Taisvus of the gear, so he takes out the vav, the ohel, robot samos. And according to that pshat, it goes together, and it's come, and robot samos also we had it better yesterday, that it says only a chatzi kavat samos. How come chatzi kavat samos is what is going to be the tamei ba'ohel? If there was a half a kavat samos, so then a bones, so then it's tumas ohel. And you could have been with that, anything less than a half a kav is not going to be matami b'ohel. So it goes without saying that a quarter of kavat samos is not matami b'ohel. We know it already. So yesterday the Gemara said, good morning. Yesterday the Gemara said that it's coming to tell you a deal. That what did it say? That there's no ohel, but there would be maga. There would be, if he touched the robot samos, he's going to be megaleach. Yes. That if it would be the robot samos only say here it says all robot samos. One before revius dam, it doesn't say all. And over there it can be medayik that even maga of revius dam would not be metame, would not be megaleach. Just I hope I'm being clear. By revius dam it doesn't say ohel. By robot samos, according to the case we're taking out the verb, so it says ohel of robot samos. So the diak is to say that by revius dam, even if he touches it, he's not going to be megaleach. The nurse is not going to cancel his nazirus even if he touched the revius dam. But we had yesterday where it says about a chatzi lug dam, that's as far as tumas ohel. So a chatzi lug dam, he's tumas ohel. Less than a chatzi lug dam, he's not going to be ohel. That is not going to be megaleach. That we know already from yesterday's Mishnah. But the fact that it says it over here is to tell you that even if he touches the revius dam, he's not going to be megaleach, which is a machlokas. The most yesterday's machlokas of Rabbi Kiva and Rabbanan. Lafukim Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva says that he is going to become tamei if he touches the revius dam, and our Mishnah says that he's not megaleach even if he touched the revius dam. But when it comes to robot samos, again, less than to know that it's not tamei ba'ohel, we know that already because it says you have to have a chatzi kav in order to have tumas ohel. So we know that already that doesn't have. But the Mishnah over here says that there's no ohel by robot samos to be medayik that there is going to be maga. Mamash the opposite. By revius dam, it's come to tell you that there's no megaleach, even if it was maga of revius dam. But by robot samos, it's saying there's only not going to be megaleach if it's an ohel of a robot samos. But if he would touch the robot samos, there would be megaleach touching the robot samos. That was yesterday's Gemara, which was really you had this to be. This was what we have Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish yesterday. If it will be that we came to the sugi yesterday because we were speaking about but came into the Mishnah. Does the Mishnah say something that we know that we could deduce ready from the Mishnah before? So these two things were in question: revius dam and robot samos. And the Gemara said these terutzim that even though we could have deduced part of it from yesterday already, the earlier Mishnah, but the achadushim over here by revius dam, that even if he touched it, it's not going to be megaleach, and by robot samos that he is going to be megaleach if he touched the robot samos. The Mishnah continues. Another thing that
we took out the vav, right?
Take out the vav of viroba.
Because
The ohel robot samos. It goes together. It's like one thing.
Yeah.
And the next thing is that's good. And the next thing is kelim anogim b'meis. Kelim anogim b'meis. So of course, if he touched the mace, that's how he became tamei. That would be megaleach. But he didn't touch the mace. He touched the kelim that touched the mace. The nazir touched the kli that touched the mace. The mace is the source of the tumah, and the kelim would be a ava tumah. And he didn't touch the mace; he touched the ava tumah. So he doesn't become, it doesn't cancel his Nazirus because of that.
Is that, and that'd be true with any of them.
What?
The Kalim are Avatuma.
Right,
So technically Avatuma, he's not going to have to.
right. That's what it seems to say. That it's not, he'll be a Rishon, but it's not going to stop him, doesn't stop his Nazirus. Uvi Mei Sfiro, Uvi Mei Gomro. So this Lahar has nothing to do with mace. And
Excuse me,
Yes.
then, is he considered Tameh to bring the Korbanos?
he's Tameh and he has to get Tahor, but but the Pasha says he doesn't. The question is if he has to wait 7 days or 1 day. Sometimes it's a 7 day wait, sometimes it's a 1 day wait.
What about the two birds and that stuff?
Who?
A Nazir that became Tameh is going to have to bring special. He's
No,
gonna
that's
bring
it,
an
no.
Asham.
No, there's not going to be Shabbanas over. That's what
Uh-huh.
that's called Eina Nazir Megalea. Since it says all these things, it says Eina Nazir Megalea.
So he's not.
That's another. It doesn't have the whole process. It's not going to. It doesn't stop his zeros. It doesn't cut his hair. It doesn't mean the kabbanas. The Mishnah is
Okay,
going to say that just to point out, and the Amud Beis is going to say the carbon ainlo. That's this whole category. He's the ones that have no carbon, but he does have to get out of his tumah. He's tumah, and it could be that the day that he's tumah, he's not going
He's
to
like
get
a
the
sheni. What do you call him?
well, Marishon.
I mean, a Rishon. He's a Rishon.
And even and the other ones before, even if let's point out there are many over here. This was the first one that's a Rishon. The ones before were Avatama. Schachos Apros and Beis Apras, there are some, and all these things make him as he's tamei, as if he touched the mace. As far as the halachas that he has to wait 7 days, but it's not. It doesn't make a difference. Even if they wait 7 days, it doesn't necessarily mean that he cancels his nazirus. It doesn't cancel his nazirus.
Okay.
And the last ones over here, the last two, Meisfir of Megomros, they seem not to be a chiddush at all to us. That we know already that a Matzorah doesn't cancel his Nazirus, only Thomas Mace. Because Thomas Mace, only if he had contact with the mace, contact or oil, something makes him Tommy Mace. But if he had other kinds of Thomas, he doesn't stop his Nazirus. That's Pashut. Or maybe it's not Pashut, but we learned it already. Here the Mishnah says, Meisfir of Megomros. Both of these things have to do with a Matzorah. It doesn't have to do with a mace. It doesn't have to do with Thomas Mason. It has to do with Thomas Saras. And we may Gomro, let's do May Gomro first. That means it base that he was definitely in Mitzorah, but usually called Mechaluto. A person comes with a nega, he's not sure if it's a nega or not, so the Kohen looks at it and sometimes he tells him to wait for a week, wait for 2 weeks, if it's going to become a simatuma, if it's going to stay the same size, if it's going to grow, different considerations you have to stay during the trial period. That's called B'meis Gero. Gomro, Mechaluto means that he was definitely decided that he's tummy. So as long as he's tummy, it can be many years. You have people that were tummy that will sorry for the rest of their life, or 25 years. It could be a long time till he gets healed. So as long as he's Gomro, the Nazir was a Nazir, and then it became tummy tzaras, and even became a definite tzaras. It became Bimei Gomro. It doesn't stop his Nazirus. We're going to see right away that it says also that it doesn't count. Maybe it doesn't count for his Nazirus, but it doesn't stop his Nazirus. The Meis Firo,
Pauses, but it doesn't stop.
what?
Pauses,
It
but
pauses but doesn't stop, right? There's a cancel and a pause, as we have in the computers. So Megalech means that it cancels. Yeah, start all over again. And Eina Megalech means that it doesn't cancel, but it pauses. What does Meis Firo mean? I'm going backwards because after we have Mei Gom, there's the order chronologically would first be that he was a Bimei Gomro, that he was a definitely Mitzorah. And then, when the Mitzoras goes away, there's a process to become Torah, and he has to count 7 days. That's called Bimei Firo, the days that he's counting to become Torah. So those days also are not gonna cancel his Nazirus, but it is also doesn't count. Those days also don't count. So it's paused until after the Gomra and the Sphira. Al Elu on all these things, which I counted 11, if I'm right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All these 11 things, Al Elu in Lazim Galeach. He doesn't cancel, he doesn't have to cut his hair off and start again. He continues his Nazirus, he doesn't cut his hair. But he does have to get out of the tumah. He did become tummy. He became tummy for 7 days. Schachos, pros, Beis Apras, all these things he became tummy as if he was mace, and he has to get sprinkled with the paraduma ashes on the 3rd and 7th day of his tumah.
But not the Mitzorah.
But not the mitzvah. The mitzvah surely doesn't have any kind of fleecy or shvi. Here it says he doesn't cancel everything that he had done already. Or and he starts counting right away. What does it mean, miyad? These words say that it was on pause. If it wouldn't have been paused even, then he doesn't have to continue start counting. He's in the middle of counting. He's in the middle of his count. Since it says miyad, that means that he does pause the count. And now, when does he start counting again? As soon as on the 7th day. The 7th day, the third and seventh day. The seventh day could be already counted, and that's what the Gemara is like before that. Right before the end of yesterday, right before the Mishnah, that korban ain't. Here there is no korban, so he doesn't have to wait until the eighth day, and therefore he can start counting right away on the seventh day. Mashen came in the Mishnah before that said that he does have to bring a korban, so he doesn't start counting on the seventh day; he starts counting on the eighth day. Even that was a machlok Rebbe and Rabbana, and the Mishnah was beduyik. This Mishnah is beduyik. That here it says maskal mono miyad, and the Mishnah before it doesn't say maskal mono miyad. That over there he has to wait until the eighth day. Over here there's no korban; he can start counting on the seventh day already. And counting doesn't mean start; it means that it continues. He stops the pause. He was on pause for the days that he was tamei, and now he gets tahor on the third and seventh day of his tumah, and then he stops the pause. And on the seventh day, can be continue the count. Korban eno, there's no korban. This is called ein magaleach. The Mishnah ends off. There are some kind of tumas that even count also. They don't even pause. What would that be? A zav. Somebody was a nazir and he became a zav. A zav is some kind of a mission that a man has, which is not a seminal mission, and it just flows without any kind of ejaculation. A zav is a woman who has a menstrual flow that's past the regular time of 7 days, and it went into even 3 days, even a zav gedola. So all this, she was a nazira and she became a zav, or he became a zav, she became a zava. It doesn't even pause the count. It can continue the count even while they're a zav and a zava. And also, you may as gerish on the day that he's a musga. Musga means that trial period after he comes to the Kohen and he has an ega. So the Kohen says that he should come back in 7 days, or sometimes the second time 7 days. That's all called Yimei Gero. That happens. Agav, this machlokes Rishonim. What Yimei Gero means doesn't mean that he's in quarantine, like most people translate it, that he's in quarantine. And other Rishonim say he's not in quarantine, but he just circle the nega to see if it's going to get bigger or not. Not that you put the man into a hesger, but you put the nega into a hesger. That you close it, you make a.
He's in a waiting. He's in a waiting.
He's in waiting. Why is it called hesger? Hesger means to lock up. Tagur.
Because you're going to close the thing.
So some say you
closing the nega.
So some say that. Some say you take a magic marker.
Closing the person.
Right. You put him in quarantine. Machlok is what that means. But anyway, that's the trial period that you're not sure if he's a Matzah or not. He's also Tameh, but it doesn't pause his count. He continues counting even though he's a Muslim. If they make him a Mukhlat, that's called Yimei Gomro. So then he puts it on pause, and he won't take it off pause until he gets rid of the tzaras. And then even after the Sfira also he can't stop the pause. He has to wait until after the Sfira. But the days of Hesger of the Matzorah, don't pause it. Everything's good?
I came late and I apologize, but the first 2 words, it was the first word aval.
Oh yes,
But compared to the first.
Right, the Mishnah before said that these things ain't a nazir megaleach.
What are so
Schachos, that's right. Oh, you came at the right time, right here. Here goes the Gemara. Schachos. This is what schachos are. Ilan ameisach ala oretz.
So glad I missed it.
I just brought the Gemara when we said the Mishnah, but here's the Gemara. It's really quoting a Mishnah that says Eila and Schachos, and what is pros? Schachos and pros. Schachos means Ilan ameisach ala oretz. It's a tree which is covering over the ground, which means it has branches coming out of a tree. And that's pretty ambiguous. It doesn't say what does that have to do with us. If it will be a regular ohel, that is a grave under the tree, and the person is under the tree, so he became tummy. That's a regular tumah deraisa. That is a ohel, no question about it. So the Rishonim have to figure out what does it mean. Even what is that? How is that going to be only drabanan or some kind of leniency over here? So they say that it means a tree has many branches, and we know that the tumas mace is under one of the branches, but they don't know which one it is. And he went under one of the branches or some of the branches, not under all of them, and we don't know if he's tamei or not. And it's in Rishus Rabbim, and a suffix tumah Rishus Rabbim should be tahor, but still they made a tamei with rabbanan, and they didn't make this tumah for a nazir. I mean, and the nazir won't be megaleach. He might have to wait 7 days, maybe rabbanan, like any kind of a schachos and pros. But they didn't say that he has to cancel his nazirus. It doesn't count, but he doesn't cancel. That was what schachos are.
What's the chiddush with talking with the rabbanon? What would they have to say that he is megaleach?
Maybe mirabbanan, maybe it's megalech mirabbanan. It's going to be like
rabbanon.
so. No, we won't pick up on this. But you might what kafas harosh. That I think more talks about the kafas kol harosh is not the shmei kafa. There might be a case where the rabbanon will allow him to do it. The machlokes rishonim, all these things. The machlokes, some say that all these things that it says in Razim Megalech is only the rabbanon and lo mid the devrei, but some say that it's the rice and it's the lochal Moshe Messinai that the nazir is not megalech. that you have to you'd say better. The names are, I think Rashi and the Rambam hold that it's Drabbanan, and Tosfos and the Ravid hold that it's the Raisa. And this is Allah Moshe Messina that he has this leniency. So Schachos again, according to this shot, we're saying it's the very big Kiddush that it's really Safek Tumah B'Shus Rabim, and still they said that it's Tameh. Usually we know Safek Tumah B'Shus Rabim is Torah, but here comes out that they were Matame in general Schachos, even though it's Safek Tumah B'Shus Rabim, and by the Nazir they waived it, and they said that it's not gonna have this Tumah Rabbanon. Pros, what is he's not gonna lech, and he still needs Tahara, and he's gonna write, and he pauses the count also. What does pros mean? Similar thing. It's going to be some jutting stones coming out of the wall. That the wall is built out of stones, and some of them are jut out. You want to know where it says the word stones?
I thought maybe it was also a plant, like a bush instead of on top of him. It happens in America a lot, maybe here too. I don't know. Like there's a sidewalk and there's a big bush, and it shuts out, and so in terms to walk on the sidewalk, you end up brushing and touching it.
So that's probably it's not going to make a difference if he touches it or not. The point is going to be something about tumah, that there's tumah under it. There's tumah under one of them.
So he's touching it, but the tumor is on the other side of the fence.
There's no, that doesn't. I don't think that would affect him.
Only
The point is going to be under it. It's ohel over here. So where do I get the word that I mean stones? What is this aleph supposed to be? Aleph of the Bach.
So it means stone.
Here it is. Avanim. Here's the Bach right here. Pros Avanim. Ayotzos. Put in the word Avanim, and that's what the Mishnah and all the it's quoting Mishnah notes over there. I think it says it Avanim. So it's the same thing as that's another example. One is going to be a tree, branches of a tree. One is going to be the jutting stones, and the same idea that there's tumah mace under one of them. You don't know which one. He went under some of them.
They're jutting where?
Out of the building over the street where he's walking, and
over him.
One of
they're
these,
jutting out over him,
and under one of them is Tumas Mace. We know that under one of them is Tumas Mace. How are you supposed to figure all this out from the words? I don't know, but the Rishonim figured it out. One of these pros, there's a Tumas Mace under one of them, and we don't know which one. And he went under some of them. He doesn't know if he went under one that's Tameh. So it's a Safek Tumah which is around him. Should be Torah. For some reason they made him Tameh in general. And
so it's the same as the tree?
Same as a tree, just it's a stone instead of a branch.
Then what was the problem with Sharyafo? I thought everybody knows that they're buried over there and the tree came over.
Right, so it wasn't any suffix. There's no suffix over there. That's a regular Tumas Ohel. You know that the tree extends both over the mace and over
the Ohel.
That's the Ohel. That is the Ohel. The tree is the Ohel.
And so why isn't this also an Ohel?
Because here the branches are not next to each other. So
no, the stones
are not next to each other, and you know that there's someone the one of them. You don't know which one. In the case of Shar Yaakov, you know exactly what happened. There's the mace is right there, and there's the tree umbrella, and here's the Kohen.
These are suffix. We don't know where.
This is a suffix. You don't know if he's going under the branch that has the mace under it. So all these cases, that's it. And he's supposed to figure out. I never realized that the Mishnah.
They cut the tree.
That's what I was told. Or the Kohanim should watch out and see that it shouldn't go.
No, they cut it now
cut
so
it.
that it doesn't jet out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
Right.
They have to keep on
trimming it.
trimming it. Okay. So I was supposed to figure out from these words. I didn't realize that that's what it says. And everything else is the Rishonim. It does says here, schachos are the branches, pros are the jutting stones, and then that it is definitely kazayis of tum under one of them, and he went under some of them, not all of them, and it's just around them. That's the Rishonim added on. Okay. The rest of the day is about Eretz Amin, the land of the nations. The land of the nations. I'm fascinated that Chutz is called the land of the nations.
The land of the nations.
Someone lives on Chutz. Ask him, in which nation do you live? Eretz Amin.
Eretz Amin.
It's in the Mishnah right there.
Okay.
So there's a Tumas Eretz Amin. That's essentially Tumas Eretz Amin.
Oh, that the nazir is not a problem for the nazir.
Isn't the problem, but it's not
The
like
problem,
he
but it's
doesn't
not
cancel. He
looking
just pauses.
Okay.
He has to go to the has to get a
Yeah,
paraduma on the third and seventh day, and he has to go to the mikvah, and then he's paused all those days that he was in Chutz
You heard
La'aretz.
that we may have a paradum in 2024. It was in the news yesterday.
Oh, great.
7 paradum were brought in from America, and they're being sequestered secretly in Eretz Israel. And they're watching them.
Secret.
But they're not a year old. They're not a year and a half. Isn't here fun?
I heard they want to breed.
Secret.
I will talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
We're ready.
Which news?
I'll have to look it up. I'll find. I'll
Okay.
search. I don't know where I saw it.
Jerusalem Post? No? All right, okay. I hope everybody should be, everybody should be tuned into the right news.
Oh, and that they're Kohanim that are Tahor.
How are they taught?
Oh, there is, yeah.
Like what Rav Cook, I think, wanted to do, but they said not to do it. But I think there's some, I don't know if they're kids or if they're adults, but they've been like kept,
If they're adults, it wouldn't help, though. It means if they're kids,
they've been kept separate.
Some you should,
Did you hear about it?
Yeah, who told me?
Okay, I'll look for the article.
I appreciate it, okay. Kiboilu, Eretz Amin. So everyone knows that it has tumah, and that's why our Mishnah says that it has tumah. Mishum Avira Gazru Allah or Duma Mishum Gusha Gazru Allah? What kind of tumah? What's the parameters of the tumah that Chazal made? Of course, it's Rabbana. What kind of parameter did they make for tumah Eretz Amin? Did they make because of the ear, Avira's ear,
Yeah,
or the gush? The gush means the solid, the piece, which means the earth. Did they go to tumah on the ear or on the earth? So we're going to see in the Gemara. I don't know if I'd be able to tell from the first words, but the Gemara is going to say that ear is a new invention. That the ear itself is tummy. The ear of Chutz La'aretz is tummy. And even if you'd be separated from the earth, usually something is tummy, either you touch it or you carry it or you're mahil over it or on the same ohel. But there's a possibility that they made Eretz Amim that the ear is tummy.
that the rabbis made, or that it
It's
is
only
inherently?
no, everything, the whole Eretz Amim is only Rabbanan. The Tumas Eretz Amim is Rabbanan. And the question is, what are the parameters of the Tumah that they declared upon Eretz Amim? Did they say that the earth is tummy? And if the earth is tummy, if you touch it, if you carry it, maybe if you're mahil on top of it also, maybe. But avira is a new kind of a tumah that they said that the ear is tummy. And there's no such kind of tumah like that. There's no such tumah that being in the ear, you have to, it's always going to be something that you're ohel on top of or something like that. But here this might be that they made that the ear is tummy, and even if you'd be separated from the earth in a way that you didn't have any contact, you didn't touch it, you didn't carry it, you weren't even an oil on top, there might be even an oil separating. I think I was going to talk about this. This is today's sugya. Maybe they made a tumah on the ear, or maybe they made that the earth is tummy, and then it's going to be similar to the tumah that we're familiar with, a mace. Same way you touch a mace, or you carry the mace, or in the oil of a mace. So too the gush, the ear, the earth of Chutz La'aretz is considered mace, and you touch it, you become tamei. You carry it, you become tamei. In the same oil, you become tamei. That's the question. What kind of tumah?
Even Milwaukee?
But would an airplane stop the tumor if you're in the?
That'll also be today. That's also be included in today's
Like
tomorrow.
what would
Why would
stop
you think?
it?
Why would you think that? Why would you think it would stop? Why should it be stopped?
I don't know. I thought this is metal, or maybe there's going to be a.
Why is you saying why it should or shouldn't?
Why it should, maybe because there's going to be the bottom where the luggage is over tefach,
But if you say that there's avir, so you still have to be concerned that the air is tummy.
but you're inside it. You're inside.
Is the air inside the
Encapsulated.
plane not Chutz La'aretz air?
No,
It's not. What's under it? Is it flying over Eretz Yisrael?
no, it's under it is Chutz La'aretz,
So why is he not in the air of Chutz La'aretz?
because he's in a teva. Maybe he's being protected in the teva.
How is that going to protect
Whereas,
him?
like if it's a balloon, a hot air balloon, he wouldn't be. Maybe.
If he has a
You're saying if it's a hot air balloon, then that air is all around.
if the air is tummy, so it should be tummy. I'm not saying that. I just want to lead up to what the Gemara is going to talk about. But if we go with the assumption that there's avira, if it goes on the avira, so does it help to be in a box?
Oh, you're saying? Oh, you mean because the air is going to seep into the box?
I mean, he's breathing.
Well,
He didn't bring Eretz Yisrael here. You're talking about it seeping in means sounds like he has Eretz Yisrael here, and now the Chutz La'aretz air is going to seep in. But without that,
how about
Chutz La'aretz
a
air.
spaceship like they went to the moon?
What about it?
So then, aren't they encapsulated with their own environment, and they're not in the air?
What does air mean? It's in the space. It's in the space of Chutz La'aretz.
But they're
under it is Chutz
inside.
La'aretz.
They're not in the space. They're in something that's in the space.
But they're also in space. Is that
So
not
that's
Chutz
actually
La'aretz
obvious.
space? So
So
what does it mean? What, it has to be oxygen? What is it?
No, I think without oxygen. I don't think it means oxygen. I think
What does it mean? It means the space.
The space, that's
So
right.
they said, why is it not Chutz La'aretz space?
I thought maybe they're in a protective.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we don't have to be so extreme. We can talk about a box. Someone's in a refrigerator box.
Yeah.
Is he in the Chutz La'aretz air? Avia.
I'm assuming so, because they're not concerned about the air, they're concerned about the area, the
Okay,
space.
so.
Well,
if
you're
inter-
saying it's in the space.
In the space of
That's what I
Husla,
understood.
they made it the
makes
space
more
of
The
sense.
Husla.
spaceship that's circling the Earth is also in the space of Husserl.
Right, that's what I thought, no?
So we'll see, that's gonna be the subject, I mean, more or less, that's, so the subject introduces that Eretz Amim is tummy, they made some kind of a tumor, the question is, what kind of tumor did they make to the ear? I think the word avir, by the way, the word avir, we say vav
say
like
that.
a vav, but we are making a mistake, a vav is not a vav, a vav is what?
What?
So it sounds a little bit like ear.
A weir? Oh,
The vav is
weir.
not a vav, a vase is a vase, a
Weird.
vav, you know, like
It's
the
weird.
Temanim say it.
But here it means space, right?
Shechiyanu, Wikiyamanu, Wihigi,
Wiki.
it's a vav, like the Temanim say. So
Every
let's say that the word
Wednesday,
avir is
yeah.
very similar to the word ear. Just pointing out that it's pretty similar to the word ear. But anyway, did they make that the air space is tame, or did they make that the earth is tame? And the Gemara is going to talk about which one. What is the parameters of Tumas Eretz Hamin? Tashma from our Mishnah. It says in our Mishnah that if the Nazir had contact with Eretz Hamin, it says Mazav Shlichim B'Shvi, that he has to be sprinkled from the Paraduma ashes on the third and seventh day of his Tumah. The Amit Mishum Avira Azal Amalin means the Gemara takes for granted that this new Tumah called Avir is not going to have to, even if they did invent it, but it's not going to be a socially shishvi. That seems to be the Gemara last question, because it doesn't have any counterpart in the regular way with Tumah. Tumah is always going to be either Mago, Masa, or Ohel. To say that the airspace is Tumah is a new invention, and they're not going to make Midrabanan even that it should have to be sprinkled with the Paraduma. Paraduma is only going to be things that are something connected to the real Tumah of Mago, Masa, and Ohel. So if you say that it's what?
Physical contact.
A physical of Ohel is also going to be called physical contact because he's over or it's in the same Ohel as, but it has to be one of the regular channels of Tumah. But if they invented a new way of Tumah, that's just the airspace that doesn't have anything to do with any known Raisa Tumah, so they wouldn't have invented Shlishi Ushvi. They wouldn't have invented about sprinkling on such a kind of a Tumah. So the fact that our Mishnah says that there is Hazar Shlishi Ushvi, and the Gemara thinks that's going in the whole Mishnah. Means you go back to the Mishnah, it has all these counts over here. It says all these things. Eluhain, Avalas, Pros, Besa Pras, Eretz Amin, here is Eretz Amin, Golo, Dofek, all these things. Then it says Mazav B'Shlichu Shvi. So if it says Eretz Amin and it says Mazav B'Shlichu Shvi, the Gemara thinks it can't be that it's a new invention that has no shaykhs to any kind of a tumah, because they wouldn't have a Shlichu Shvi, they wouldn't have to sprinkle on him on a kind of a tumah that's mamish an invention. If it's on the earth of Chusloris, even though it's Rabbanan, but the Rabbanan made it similar to the Raisa. So therefore, they can make that you have to be sprinkled on the third and seventh day with Rabbanan, because it's a Tumah Rabbanan, because he touched the Eretz Amen, he carried the Eretz Amen, he was Mahil on the Eretz Amen. So then it'll be similar enough to a real Tumah that they could be Mitake and Shlishi and Shvi with Rabbanan. But if they invented a new Tumah that has nothing to do with any known Tumah, it's just that the air itself is the space is Tumah, so then they wouldn't have made on that a Hazar Shlishi Shvi. That's what the Gemara thinks. Arrive from our Mishnah that it's on the gush. There shouldn't be any reason to sprinkle on him on the third and seventh day. Allah Misham Gusha must be that the way they made the Tumah on Eretz Amin is on the actual earth. The Gemara says not. The Gemara deflects the proof. Lo, maybe not. That maybe the Mishnah that says Mazav Shishvi is not going in every single one. It's going on Schachos, it's going on Pros, Besa Pras. It's not going on Eretz Amin. Maybe not. Those that need Shlishi Shvi have to have Shlishi Shvi. It's not necessarily saying that all of them have to have Azar Shlishi Shvi. It just means to say that those who need it have to wait through it. During the day.
Maybe they don't need sprinkling, and it is because of the air.
Right. And the Mishnah says you do need, it's not referring to every single one. It's saying those that need Shlishi Shvi have to wait for Shlishi Shvi, and those that don't. It doesn't necessarily going on all of them. And the Gemara even proves it. I'll prove to you that it's not going on everything. Hani, they take out the word Kalim. Hani b'nei azayinun, alashramina ashara. So when we were learning the Mishnah, Av Nissen said that it's surely not going on b'mei sfira or b'mei gomro, because that's so Mitzorah. Mitzorah doesn't have anything about Shlishi or Shvi. So that's nice. That seems to be a very nice pshat. And I think that the Rishonim say it also, that the Gemara could have said or means to say that this one does not have Hazar Shlishi. So you see, it's not an exhaustive list. When it says Hazar Shlishi is not going on everything, it's surely not going on Sphiro, May Gomro, so it's not going on Eretz Amim also maybe. And what the Gemara does say, the words of the Gemara don't say b'misfir Gemara. The Gemara says the one before it, kel manogim b'meis, and that the Gemara seems to say it's pashut that kel manogim b'meis, which means that a man touched kelim that touched the mace. It's pashut to the Gemara that it doesn't have to have a zosh shlishi. The Gemara like that the Gemara knows as a given, and that's a question. It will be trying to ask a question because we didn't know that. We thought that you do have to wait 7 days, and maybe you should have to have shlishi. But the simple meaning of the Gemara sounds, as the Gemara knows as a given, that Caleb and Ogim and mace don't have to be sprinkled on the 3rd and 7th day. It means if a person touched the Caleb that touched the mace, he doesn't have to be sprinkled on the 3rd and 7th day. Maybe even if he has to wait 7 days. And the mace and the Gomer would have been easier for the Gemara to say that surely he doesn't have to be sprinkled on the 3rd and 7th day. It's not the most mace b'klal. So since you see it's not going on everything, so maybe it's not going on Eretz Hamim either. So it could be that it's really Tumas Aviro. And there is no Shlishi or Shvi, and the Mishnah doesn't necessarily mean that. That's the Gemara's. That was Hachanam Stavra. I could prove to you it's reasonable to say that's not going on everything because it's surely not going on. Kelim Malogim B'Meis, Hani Kelim or Hani B'nei Hazani. The person who touched the Kelim Malogim B'Meis, are you supposed to sprinkle on them? Surely not. It means the Gemara knows that. The Gemara knows that kind of a tumah does not get sprinkled with on the 3rd and 7th day, and the Rishonim has kashas from other places where it sounds like he does have to. So that's a kasha for the Rishonim, but the Gemara seems to say that Kelim Malogim B'Meis, if someone touched the cleavage, touched the mace, he doesn't have to be sprinkled on the 3rd and 7th day. And as everyone listened said, it's the easier way the Gemara could have said it, that the Mitzorah surely doesn't have Shlishi or Shvi, it's only for Thomas Mace.
You take out the word Kelim.
Yeah, this
So
word,
what it means,
this word.
Hane what?
Ani person, the person who touched the Kelim Malogim B'Meis.
Is B'nei Hazah.
Hani B'nei Hazani, you know, the people who touch the Kelim Malogim B'Meis have to be sprinkled.
Hazah means sprinkled. Oh,
Right, Hazah means sprinkling Shlishi or Shvi.
there's a lot missing. B'nei Hazah, Inan is the question, right?
Right,
So Hani, these that don't need,
Hani, the people who touch the Kelim Malogim B'Meis, B'nei Hazah, you know, do they have to be sprinkled? They surely don't. So when the Mishnah says they have to be sprinkled, Shlishi Shvi is not going on this one, so it's not going on other ones either. So it's no proof. It could be that there is something.
so Hani is the one about the Mitzorah.
You could say, okay, I would like to say that that's a nice shot that Rabbi Nissan, that the Gemara doesn't say. You have to say like, you have to put in v'chulu, put in etc. After Kelim and Ogim B'Meis, etc. And Hani is going on everything. These the person who touched Kelim and Ogim B'Meis, not the Kli and Ogim B'Meis, the person who touched the Kli and Ogim B'Meis, and the person who's on the Torah, they may Sphiro, we may Gomro, does he have to be sprinkled with the Paraduma on the 3rd and the 7th? Surely not. It's only going on the rest of them. It's not going on everything. So therefore, maybe it's not going on Eretz Hamim either. And even though we tried to bring a raya, the fact that I said Marshal B'Shlishi Shvi, it must be Grusha. It goes on the earth, and therefore there is room to say Shlishi Shvi. No, it could be it's on the Avir, and there is no Shlishi Shvi, and the Mishnah doesn't mean to say that you're going to sprinkle on them on the 3rd and 7th day.
And we see from the Mishnah that there are other Tumas Mace issues which also are not Mazir. Yeah.
You want to stick there? That's why you want to say more than Mitzvah.
Yeah.
Why the Gemara is not happy enough to say Mitzvah? Because that goes without saying. Of course, if it says Mitzvah, then it's not no one.
I figured that out. But it's not going on. But here, it's a Tumas Mace issue.
So then you have to be even there are some Tumas Mace that don't have Shlishi Shvi. So the Gemara doesn't. At this point, the Gemara doesn't know what's the parameters of Tumas Eretz Hamim. Is it Gusha? Is it Avira? The Gemara thinks it has a machlokes tanon. Let me cut tanon. It seems to be a machlokes tanon. It says, "Anichnas leretz hamim v'shida table migdal." If someone came into Chos La'aretz in a box, he came inside a box in a container, a refrigerator box. A shida table migdal. A shida is some kind of a closet. A table is a box. A migdal, some kind of an armoire, something like that. All the cases are spaceship, whatever you want to call it, an airplane, a truck. He came in a box to Chos La'aretz.
It's an issue of 40 saw.
La'aretz would mean to Eretz Yisrael, doesn't it?
Anichnas leretz hamim.
Oh, Hamim, sorry. Yeah. In a box, that's my case. That's what I was saying.
Right. What's the difference if it's 40 saw? Maybe that shouldn't be a kli. It should be an oil. You want that it should be an oil, so maybe that's to be a big box. That it should be 40 saw. That it should not be a kli. A kli would be makabel tumah. This is going to be something that's going to be not makabel tumah. It's going to be considered an ohel. It's an ohel that should be mafsik. L'chora, he's coming into Chos La'aretz and he's separated from the ground. Usually, if he walks into Chos La'aretz, he's touching the ground. He might be moving the ground if he kicks something, and he solely is ma'il on the ground. But this person seems to be separated from Chutz La'aretz. He has an ohel, usual a board. This is a fancy case. He's even in a box. But usually, if you have a board that's a tefach off the ground, so even though there's be a mace, even if there's a grave that's under the board, but it's stopped by this ohel
You say even if people carried him in
on a board,
on a cot, on a board, and they
So-
held it over, whatever it was,
well, tefach has to be a tefach elevated off the ground. That's an
and they
ohel.
walked him in. Maybe he wouldn't be.
Maybe it wouldn't be tummy because he didn't have any contact with the ground. Here's even a little bit more extreme that he's in a box, which for our purposes at this point, it doesn't make difference if it's a box or it's just the bottom floor.
Okay.
And they carried him and he had no contact with the floor, not maga, not masa, not ohel.
And the one, so this Rebbe.
Rebbe
Yosef
Metame.
Rebbe Yehuda.
I didn't read it yet. Rabbi Metame, Rabbi Yehuda Metayr, machlokes.
So
Rabbi says
Metayr,
it's tummy. So, yeah, Metayr makes sense because he had no contact.
That would
Rebbe
have to
says
do
he's
with
no tummy.
only the ground. is-
Right. Yeah, so Levi Yaakov got it. The more things that this brisa says machlokes tanam about this issue. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda says tohor because he had no contact with the ground. But Rabbi says tummy. Why should he be tummy? He didn't have maga, didn't have masa, didn't have ohel. So why should it be tummy? It must be Rabbi holds that the ear is tummy. My love, Rabbi Yosef Mishum Avira. That's why he's tummy because he had contact with the ear, with the space. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Mishum Gusha. That is only tummy if he has contact, some kind of contact, maga, masa, ohel, with the ground. So first of all, like Morris, yes, you do see that being in the box doesn't make him separated, even though he's in the box, but he's in the air, not only a board, he's in a box.
Rebbe.
And for Rebbe, so before you're talking about being separated, that the Gemara doesn't see it. He's not separated.
Right, you wouldn't have to being in a spaceship.
Yeah, right, because spaceship is like a box. He's in a box, and he's separated in the bottom, tefach off the ground, and he has walls on all sides, but he's still in the space of Eretz. As Rebbe says, Tamei. It doesn't help you to be in a truck or a bus and you're separated. That's only if the bottom, the ground will be tummy. But there's air, the space is tummy. So being in any kind of a plane, whatever it is, any kind of a box, he's still tummy.
Okay,
It's
but I
space.
can understand, but Rebbe is talking about things where the air, the reason the person is alive is because he's breathing air from that place.
I don't think that has to do with the air oxygen. I think it has to do with the space, like Bram was saying, that the space of Eretz Haman.
And I say the box doesn't help.
We call up to this astronaut. We tell him, "Where are you?" He says, "I'm hovering over Eretz Haman." You're in Eretz
They
Haman.
tell him, get out of our airspace.
Ah, good.
He's in the big
Yeah.
balloon over there from China, and they say you're in America
I
now.
don't think it has to breathe.
He says, "Well, I'm not in America. I have my own air. I came up my own
In
airspace."
other words,
from
space
China."
has nothing to do with breathing.
Right,
Space
right.
has to do with the space.
Space.
Uh-huh.
The China balloon, if it came with its own
No, I
air.
was thinking, if I'm not using that air that's
Yeah.
in that space, you say it doesn't matter whether we're using it or not. Okay.
So that's what the Gemara thinks. That that Rebbe holds Avir and Rebbe Yosef holds Gush. But the Gemara is going to knock it off. So look, there's a question how to learn the Gemara. We'll learn one shot, the Rosh's shot. They read that a few shot them. So there are going to be three ways to get out of it. That's all the blue over here. Three ways to get out of it. We'll change one Gersa word over here about Ella. The word Ella here is going to mean Iboy Sema. Instead of Ella, it's going to say Iboy Sema. That's a Gersa change. And it says Vatanya, and Vatanya three times. And maybe I should also highlight that. Let's do the Vatanya. There's a Vatanya. And later on, it's going to be another Vatanya. And a third Vatanya. And we're going to learn the rest of the Pshat that all the Vatanyas it supports. It's not a kasha. Like, yeah, sometimes it's Benichusa. Vatanya doesn't mean Babandach land. It means Babandach land. Like, that we learned. Vatanya, we learned. It doesn't mean a kasha, it's a support. So we'll learn the rest of the Pshat. Others learn differently. We'll get one Pshat through the Gemara. So the Gemara is going to say three possibilities to learn the machlokes between Rebbe and Rebbe Yosef Yehuda differently than the first suggestion. The first suggestion was that Rebbe holds Avira. Rebbe Yosef Yehuda holds Gush. No, not necessarily. It could be choice number one. Kul Yama Mishum Gusha. Everybody holds that only the earth is tummy, the air is not tummy. So the kasha is, why is Rebbe say he's tummy? He's off the earth. He has a mechitza between him and the earth, the ohel. Masava ohel zorek shmeyo or masava lo shmeyo ohel. A moving ohel. Is a moving ohel tummy or not? If you have a stationary ohel, so then it's a mafsik. But if you have a portable that's moving, is that enough to be considered mafsik? So that's going to be a machlokes. The Rebbe holds that it doesn't help you have you're in a box because it's moving.
Oh, if it would stop, it would be no harm.
not dafka, if you'd have a bridge that you came into Eretz Yisrael over the border and you're still on a bridge. So then Rabbi will say Yitoha, because there's a mafsik between you, the bridge is a mafsik between you and the earth. But if the whole thing is moving, it's moving, so that is not considered a ohel, since it's moving.
The part under.
The box, the bottom of the box, the ohel, which is mafsik between you. It doesn't make,
Top of the oil.
right, it doesn't make a difference if there's walls or not. The whole box now you don't need. It doesn't make a difference. Box. It's only an example. They could have brought him in a wagon. No, that doesn't have to mean
A
dafka
stretcher.
box. A
Right,
stretcher.
yeah.
So Rabbi will say, Rabbi will say
Why are you
Torah.
bringing the bridge? I don't understand.
A bridge is not portable. A bridge is not moving. It's a regular ohel. There's an ohel, and the Eretz Amen and the nazir, the kohen, or the person, whatever,
If he's
is on
standing
top.
on the bridge.
So if he's on the bridge, so then surely he's not. If he's not
Oh,
in contact with the earth, so he'd be
right.
Torah.
But if he's on a cot that's moving,
That's right. So then it's not considered an ohel. So it doesn't stop the tumah. It doesn't stop the tumah, which is under him. But here the Gemara is saying now, but the air is not a problem. If you hold the air is a problem, then even on the bridge is a problem because you're in the air. But chutzlaros, I don't care that there's something separating you from
if
the
he's
earth. Not Gemara is teres number one that the issue is only the earth, and the reason Rabbi says tummy is because he holds orig zorek shmei ohel. I'm sorry, that's Rabbi Yosef Yehuda, and Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi holds orig zorek lav shmei ohel. It's not considered an ohel if it's a flying zorek,
Yeah.
a flying
Mhm.
ohel.
not.
But Tanya, we're going to learn that it means a support to this job. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Omer. Now Rabbi Yosef Yehuda was talking, and he's the one who holds that it is considered an ohel. That's what we're looking for. According to this drought, is going to find a support that the Yosef Yehuda holds that a moving ohel is an ohel. Where
An
do we
airplane
find
is not an oil, according to Rebbe.
right?
An airplane is not an oil, according to Rebbe.
Right. And we want to say that according to Rabbi Yosef
Yes.
Yehuda, a old zorek is an ohel, and the Gemara is bringing a support because it says Teva Shimalei Kalim v'Zorek al Pnei Hameis ba'ohel. Take out the word ba'ohel. You want to take out the word ba'ohel? Let's take that out. Who takes it out? You can take it out. The mayor. He had a box full of kalim and he threw it over the mace. It's tamei. The box is tamei. The people, the kalim are tamei. The kalim are tamei. If the box again, please.
He's gonna have, there's some things that are gonna fly over the maze.
And
In
it
a
says
box.
that in a box.
box.
So is the box considered a separation to make that the kalim were not ohel, or we're not flying over, we're not over the mace.
No,
So it says no, tamei. But if munachas, which they say means munachas means that it was being held up by something, it also was passing over, but it was on something. People were carrying it, or it was on an animal, so it was on something, even though it was moving. The difficulty with this, what would have to hurt is a hurdle over here because we're trying to bring say about Tanya the proof. It's a proof to what we said that according to Rabbi Lo Shmei Ohel, according to Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Yesh Shmei Ohel. So now it has to be Rabbi Yehuda is going to be proven that he holds that a moving ohel is a ohel, and seemingly it doesn't say that. It says that if the box flew over the mace, the kalim in the box are tamei. Doesn't seem to say that. It seems to say that he holds that it's not an ohel.
right.
So they explain that even according to Rabbi Yosef Yehuda that a moving ohel is an ohel, that's only if it's has it's on something. Let's say it has wheels or people are carrying it, something. So that's called it's moving. But if it's just flying and not held down by and not connected in any way, so then it's too arai. It could be that a plane, I'm not sure if that's called, they bring down something called a oil nefes. What is that called over here? He calls talis nefes. Something wavering, like you have something, if you have something on the drying on the clothesline, if they still have such a thing, and the talus is flapping, is that considered an ohel? At that second, so while it's flapping, that's considered so alright. That's not even old zorah. That's even less than old zorah. But if it's on top of something, bunachas al gabi behema or adam, or I would say wheels or something like that, then it's old zorah. So here it's getting according to this shot, with bringing a proof that Rabbi Yisrael the holds org zorah is considered an ohel. And agav it says that if it's mamash flapping or something like that, it's flying, then it's nothing. According to this, we'll put this in parentheses. This part is not the point. Teva shimalei kelim. Whatever we're going to say, when menachas, okay, you need to go on the Zorka. Okay, I want to make some surgery here, but I won't do it because I won't be able to read it. It means that he threw it, but it was moving. It was threw it in the air. Nothing's holding it up. So then it's not even old Zorka, because even less than old Zorka. But if it's being held up by something, by people, by animals, by wheels, so then it's old Zorah.
It's moving, but there's something under it.
Right.
Supporting it.
Right. That's going to be an old Zorah. The Rebbe will hold that even in Hoysim Menachas is also Tameh. According to this chart, this is a case of an old Zorah when it's Menachas. That's the case of old Zorah. And you see a Raya, Rebbe holds that it's a good old. Is a plane considered a flapping? Is the plane considered at least as much as someone's holding it up? It could be that a plane is more than a flapping talus. So I don't know. I mean, the question will be: is would Rebbe hold that that's considered an old Zorah? But if you hold like Rebbe that holds old Zorah Loshmei Ohel, which we pass him like, so then the plane's not going to help. So then all these things are not going to help. Even if you're in a wagon, even if it has wheels, so we pass him Loshmei Ohel. So even though if it would be something stationary like a bridge, let's say, so then everybody would hold that it's considered a machitza, it's tahor. But if it would be moving ohel, a portable ohel, so that's not considered an ohel.
What did they do with the people, the planes that carry medicine from America to Israel?
We're not even talking about that. We're talking about that he's flying over a basic forest. Even if there's no mason inside the plane, but they have mason over the cemetery, and the plane's route goes over a cemetery, and maybe even a goyish cemetery. If you hold like that, if you hold that goyish Tommy Boel, so the Kohanim have a problem. How could the Kohanim go on a plane that's going over a cemetery?
Okay.
That's terrace number one. Now we do E-boy same. We change this E-boy same another terrace. The Kul Yama Mishum of here. Everybody holds that the ear is tummy. So the question is going to be: so how does it help to go in a box? Even if you go in a box, you're going in the air. How could I basically read to say that he's Torah? That to go in a box is not a shchiach thing. It's not a normal thing. To go on a board is called shchiach. To go on a bridge, but to go in a box, that's not a shchiach thing. And even
the
though
people who use boxes to walk into the cemetery, it's not a real system. But people do that.
I'm not following.
They Kohanim walking into flowers in the box. Nobody heard of it? I thought we spoke about it.
We're talking about old Zok Loshmei Ohel. So it should, according to what we pass in old Zok Loshmei Ohel, something which is moving is not considered an Ohel. So I don't know how they can go to basic forest on an old Zorah. If they have a bridge, going, so maybe a bridge will be
in
open. Because
in Breslov and Oman they do that.
if there's a bridge, so then there's a mapstick between the foreign and it's going on top. There's an oil. So then the oil is not tummy. Don't stick your hand outside, but because then it's tummy, oil. But as long as you stay on top of the bridge, so then you'll be safe. But if there's a tumas, here we're talking about something else. Here we're talking about not going in the cemetery, we're talking about going to Chuslaritz. It's saying now that the ear is tummy. So it doesn't have to go in a box. So how come Rabbi Yisrael holds it does have to go in a box? Because it's not normal. Going in a box is not normal, not the normal way. So they didn't make exera on not normal cases. It doesn't say because, again, without the oxygen and this, nothing to do with that, the breathing, but it's not the regular way to move, and therefore one goes around such a thing, and he's not tummy because it's not the normal way. And Rabbi holds that what goes on, even though it's not normal. But Tanya again means b'nichusa. This is going to be a support. It's not going to be a kasha.
Marsvar is Rabbi, first
Which one?
Marsvar is Rabbi Yossi.
Right? Rabbi Yosef,
The
Rabbi
Yoshki
Yosef, Rabbi
Khan.
Yehuda. Rabbi Yosef, not the regular Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda. And the
Rabbi
Marsava
Yossi,
is
Rabbi-
Rabbi,
and
the
it's
Rabbi
a
Yehuda, that what goes on, even though it's not normal.
Okay,
Batanya is a support, not a kasha, a support. And Nichnas, the Eretz Amin, B'shida Teva Migdal, Tor. The Koron, the Vespino, Viscaria, Tame. If someone came into Choslar, it's in a box, he's Tor. If he came in a wagon or a boat or a Iscaria. What's an Iscaria?
a Koron is a
A
Koron is the wagon.
yes.
It's not a heifer. It's not an ox or something.
No, why do you think so?
Because in the Gemara I'm learning somewhere else, it said egla something. So the egla there must have been the animal.
And the Koron is the wagon.
Okay, we thought
And
it
when
was
you
an
go on the
agala.
when you go on the
We
trains,
thought it was an agala.
I think it's an egla.
The egla must have been the animal. And the
Animal.
Koron is the wagon.
Right. And you go on the train, you look at the train, it's called Caron. Either that or either the train or the tractors. The tractors, it says Caron.
Oh, Koron.
Caron.
Yeah, the yellow, the red tractors that the Arabs drive around. It's like,
Thank you very much. Okay. Just today, we got it wrong. Okay.
Uve Iscaria. What's an Iscaria?
What?
I didn't pay attention what Iscaria means.
I think Dr. Flynn just tried to say, right?
So here he says that it means a boat. And the real Iscaria says it means a mast. The Sfina Gedol. Okay.
A mast
so-
and
a mast.
a boat and a mast?
And of course, the mast means the boat also, means a big man, a big boat.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he goes into Chutz La'aretz in a wagon or a boat or a big boat, so he's tamei. So why is that? Means the stuff has to be explained. In a box is Torah. In a wagon is tamei. What's the difference?
Moving.
So we start moving the boat. They're all moving. So that wouldn't help. It has to say,
Moving on the land, moving in the water.
yeah, what?
One is normal.
One is normal, one is not. So the box is not normal. To go on a wagon is normal. And a boat is normal. So then he's tamei because the air is tamei. But even though the air is tamei, if it went in a not normal way, so then he's tamei. What's not normal?
Hang on, so it seems to be that the box is helpful.
That's what he's saying.
It's helpful to not make him too.
Again, we know there's a machlokes
The
about
things
it. The
that are-
question is why. That was the case. Top line. Anichlas that she teva migdal Rabbi Natan Be'er Buddha Matan. According to Be'er Buddha is helpful. We're trying to figure out why is it helpful. The first choice was because he holds only the earth at the bottom of his stomach, and you separate it from the earth, even not a box, as long as you have a mechitz on the floor, as long as you have a floor. And second choice is going to say that he holds the air is also tummy. If the air is tummy, why does it help? Why does it help to have a box? The answer is because it's not normal.
Because it was norm.
And you see in this verse, there's a difference between if it's normal or not normal, because inside anything else, there's no difference between a box and a wagon. It's moving. They have to say that the moving is not a problem over here. If it's not a problem, so how come it's tummy if he's going in a wagon? It must be there's a difference if it's normal. That the wagon is normal, the boat is normal, but the box is not normal. So they didn't make the tum on a not normal case. That was possibility number two. Possibility
It's probably an airplane.
it was what is a
Escaria is an airplane.
sky. Okay.
I don't know.
The Vayis Ema. Choice number three. The machlokes is if we're scared, he's going to stick his hand out. He's not stick his body out. According to this, the Rosh says that also we're going now only Mishum Gusha. Only because the air is not a problem. Only the earth is a problem. It's going back to the first terrace again. It doesn't say so, but it means again that everybody holds Mishum Gusha. So what's the machlokes? How come? And according to this, you have to say that it is considered separated. It's considered separated because all Zorik is a oil. It's considered an oil. So why does Rabbi say Tameh? It's similar to the first terrace, that it's Mishum Gush. So therefore it should be Torah. But the first, so why does Rabbi hold Tameh? The first terrace was because he holds Zorik Lo Shmei Ohel, that it's moving, so it's not considered an Ohel. And this terrace is going to say a simpler reason, because V'choshesh is going to stick his hand out. Not his hand, Rosh V'rubo. Hashem Yossi Rosh V'rubo. Hashem, he might stick his body out. I don't know why the Gemara says Rosh V'rubo. What if he sticks out his hand?
You mean, and do you need both? We're saying Rosh of Arubo, you put them together?
Yeah, I don't know
Not
why.
one and the other.
Right, it doesn't say, right, Rosh, that's what it says, Shema Yotzi Yodo, he might stick out his hand. It doesn't say that, it says Rosh of Ruba.
Well,
That's considered a person.
It's only.
Right, that's called a person.
If it's the
Person.
majority of it.
Why should that be? That's what it seems to say, I don't know why. So it's saying that really the gush is tamei, not the Arab, they're not the Arab, only the gush. and you're over a box, so what's the problem? You're over a machitza, you're over an ohel, because you might stick yourself out. But Tanya again,
That would be that it's gush.
that would be right.
not
Everybody else
fair.
goes, even even Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda. I'm saying even Rabbi. So why does he say that he's talking if he's separated? Because he might stick himself out. But Tanya again, it's going to be a proof that the changes to Virubo, that he says that you tore in the box until you stick out yourself, until you stick yourself out. Why does he stress that? Because his opponent, like Rebbe, holds that even if you don't stick yourself out, you also tell me because you might stick yourself out.
So that wouldn't be the case of all
Because
those
you
kids that they kept pure, that the 7-year-old, these little kids, to make them tahor, they put them on a plank on oxen or whatever there is. So then they would not be holding by the chumrah that he might stick his hand in. They would be holding
Which
that as long as he's not all out or more than his majority.
And they also have to hold all Zor Shmuel.
What?
They also have to hold Zor Shmuel.
Mhm. Because since it's moving, so it wouldn't be an oil, even though it's on an animal.
So what did they do? What did they do with that?
Over there seems to hold oil, so
Because he's walking.
Shmuel.
Is that normal?
Rebbe,
Is that normal?
if they wouldn't stick their hands out, would he agree they'd be tummy?
No, he says tummy because you might stick your hand down. They made it tummy because you might stick your hand. Right, not the hand, the whole group. So at least I don't know why he says the whole group. But that's why he says tummy. You made him tummy because he might stick his hand there. Or he stuck it out
I
with
didn't
him.
see where it said that it was a gazelle.
Shema Yotzi. That doesn't say the word, but it says Shema Yotzi. He might stick his hand. That means that's why it says tummy. And we're saying, you know why it's tummy? Because he might stick his hand there. Might stick himself out.
They don't have to do the civil. It's not their issue to say
Oh, by
that.
the
By the children, right? They're worried about real children.
Shema Yotze, okay, I see.
We're saying
Because they
that
were-
it's a gazelle.
Because of the
Okay, yes, to go, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.